Mac obviously talked about O'Marion and maybe running him more into games Saturday. Why didn't he run?
Yeah, looking back, he's right. I mean, you look back and you look at the plays. I think the last two drives we were in kind of a 2-minute situation, but before that there was definitely some opportunities. I got to do a better job, just being honest with you, making sure that gets done. That's on me as coordinator. I'm responsible for it all. You can't always have RPOs tied to everything. That's the facts. And Omarion's a great player, and he ended up with 19 carries or something like that. And really, disappointed that we didn't finish the game like we wanted to. We had some opportunities there at the end, but yeah, Omarion's one of our better players. And I think the key to always playing good offense is to get your playmakers the ball. And between Tez, Drake, and Omarion, those are our three guys that we got in Bryson Nesbitt. And early on we were pretty good at that. We were a little bit off all night, it seemed like, and got to do a better job of getting that adjusted and getting us back on the right track. And it's always tough. Saturday was a tough night, and Sunday too, when you really self-evaluate. And now we've kind of tried to figure out, okay, how can we not be in that position again? And that's something we're working hard as a staff doing, and we'll do a better job.
Max said that there's very little time, obviously, for him to maybe interject during a drive to maybe say, hey, we got to get Omarion the ball, so he doesn't basically do it. How much time do you have when a play ends to get the call in? Mm-hmm. So is it 7 seconds, 8 seconds?
Yeah, it just depends on if we're in tempo or not, which we'd like to play fast most of the time. And, sometimes you call a play thinking something's going to happen, and the defense is different, and it doesn't happen. That's part of it. And some of that goes with playing with tempo. Things are happening pretty fast, but at the end of the day, it's on me. I got to do a better job of making sure it doesn't happen. And at the end of the day, I think that cost us maybe if we get him a few more carries there in that fourth quarter, maybe we go ahead and finish the game the right way. And plus, we played such good complementary football most of the year, with the defense and special teams, and that's something that we really stress in the offseason. And it didn't happen the other night, and like I said, that's on me.
One more thing about that, if I might.
Yeah.
I know early on I wouldn't say there's a script. Some coaches have a script early for the first possession, some don't. Mm-hmm. At that point of the game, is it strictly by feel, by how the things are going, and what you're seeing from them defensively?
I think each game's different. It depends. They had 2 weeks to prepare. They give Virginia some credit. They did a nice job and did a few things that were little wrinkles for them, but if things are going like you think and like you prepared for, yes, you want to stay in that script, because really that's what you practice. And when I say script, I don't mean call these plays in these order. I just mean, the plays. Hey, we're running a split zone scheme. That's what we like. That's the best thing for this week. And hey, they're playing it just like we thought, so we'll stay in that. That's just an example, not really the other night. But yeah, to answer your question, as much as you can stay on track of what you worked on and what you practice, you want to do, right? And then if things are really struggling, then maybe you change and you get off of that. The other night, I felt like we were really close on a lot of things. For whatever reason, our timing was off. Either wide out or quarterback, or sometimes up front. And I just thought we were really close. And then we hit a couple of big plays. One of them got called back. So it was one of those nights that was a weird night. And that's on me. It's a responsibility for me to have our guys ready to play and on offense. And I didn't do a good job of that.
Chip, have you talked with Nate at all since the game ended to just keep his head up, make sure he doesn't, get inside his own head about the
You talking about Nate McCullum?
Yeah.
No, he's fine. I got a lot of confidence in Nate. We all, this is one of those games that really our players. The one thing about our players is they do everything I ask them to do. They're great kids. They play their butts off. If you go watch the tape and they're playing hard as they can. Unfortunately, there were some plays out there we left, and it wasn't all Nate for sure.
Chip, did you feel like you guys got tight?
Tight? You talking about emotionally tight?
Yeah, you played burdened for some. Psychoanalyze this thing here. I guess what. But
I wasn't very good in psychology, so I don't feel that way at all. I think we had a really good week of practice. I thought, I thought Coach Brown did a great job of getting our guys, in the right mindset all week. We understood that Virginia they were a talented team, and, again, they'd had a week off to get prepared for us, and Coach warned us about that, and I don't think so at all. It's just one of those nights, sometimes it's hard to explain. We were really, really close in a lot of ways, but when you look back at it, disappointed in myself that I didn't get us going better than I did, and that's something I hope will never repeat again.
Has there ever been a time, it felt like against Minnesota, you guys ran it, I think it was Minnesota, you just ran it pretty much the whole fourth quarter. Has there ever been a time in your play calling career, and Mac talked about the difficulty and how everybody loves to do it, where you just had a plan and you just balled it up and said, we're not going with that, we're just going to go with what's been working? How's
You know, I can't remember one of those nights. People, you know, for the most part are who they are because they have that personnel, or they play a certain scheme with slight adjustments here or there. So no, I think we put a lot of time and effort into preparing. You know, we spent a lot of time up here doing that, and we got good coaches on our staff, really good coaches that I enjoy being around. And you know, we all put our heads together, and then we lock arms and we go out there and we say, here's our plan, and we try to adjust on the fly as much as we can. That's kind of what you do in coaching. And so I don't know that we've ever had a plan that we've just thrown out. No.
What about from the player's standpoint? I mean, these guys practice all week, and what you want to do, it's more difficult than just doing what I just asked about. Just saying, let's do something completely different.
Yeah, that's a good point. You're right. I mean, we have to be who we are. I think we say before the season we want to be this type of team because it fits our personnel. We want to be physical. We want to be able to run the ball downhill. We want to be, we have a quarterback I think is one of the best ones in the country. So we're going to let him play some too, right, and throw it. But at the end of the day, I think we have to kind of be who we are. I mean, you only get so many reps in practice. So it sounds great to say, hey, we'll just go do this. It's not exactly the same because each play has a life of its own. For instance, if you're running 4 verticals, here it is against single high, here it is against 2 high, here it is against man, here it is against trap, here it is, you know what I'm saying? So you don't have time to rep all that. So you think, and coach is good about always reminding us, hey, let's be simple, let's make sure we can execute and play clean, and we've done that pretty well for the most part, but the other night, obviously, we didn't get that done.
When you look at the offensive line and just how many moving parts there were with injuries to Diego, William, and along those lines, is it make it more difficult to play call games? Do you have to alter a little bit in here? I guess, how does that affect your?
I don't think so. That'd probably be an excuse. We got a lot of trust in those 8 guys that we play a lot, and there's times I don't even know exactly who's in there sometimes, especially up front. As fast as we're going, and the guy gets banged up, hobbled off. I know that happened with Willie the other night, and so forth. So we got a lot of confidence in all those guys, and I think that's what you go into is. As you say, here's 8 guys we think can play, and Randy does a good job of dealing with that, substitution for the injuries or whatever, and same with the wideouts and running backs. And so, no, I don't think that's something that affects us really at all.
Is it fair to say that unit's a little bit better at run blocking than pass blocking at this point in the season? It seems like a lot of those inside runs have worked really, really well.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think we protected pretty well the other night. What did we have, 2 sacks? Is that right? Is that on the stats? And, I think Drake probably was credited with one of those, or should have been. So, I think they protected really well. I thought those guys did a nice job, gave us time. Again, we were off timing-wise for whatever reason, didn't execute some. But, I was proud of the way those guys played. And you're right, I think they played physical in the run game at times, and especially in our downhill run game.
Yeah, Mac was in here just a second ago talking about how, the offense still kind of getting a feel for how teams are going to play. Tez obviously didn't struggle with CBA, he had the 11 catches, but do you kind of get a sense of that of, they're getting different looks every week, and just what are some of the differences you've seen from some of the ways that the defenses have been playing today? Yeah,
I do think maybe a little more 2 safety than we've seen, but I don't see a drastic difference at all. And I think, and I guess he's played 2.5 games now, is that right? He's caught a bunch of balls, so I don't see a huge difference, but the hope is when you're better on the perimeter, then they have less guys in the box. And at times that happens, and at times, I think you saw the other night, they were bringing the safety weak a lot, trying to cloudy and muddy. And when they do that, they're going to twist or do something inside or slant, so trying to muddy up the run game. And I thought Drake did a nice job a few times throwing it out on perimeter when he saw that. But I think Tez is continuing to you can see how talented he is. He's a great kid. He's got a great skill set, and just continuing to improve more he plays.
Chip, when you just
Go ahead.
How kind of crucial has it been having Bryson out there, kind of as a de facto receiver? I know Pacer was out for a while, working his way back in there. How crucial kind of has it been?
I love Bryson. He's got a unique skill set. He's got length. Obviously, can play in space and can become a matchup problem. He's become more and more physical the more he's played. You know, and he's one of the playmakers that we got to do a great job getting the ball to, and I think that speaks for itself. And you know, because I go back to, you know, our job is to get the ball to our players that can score, and he's one of them for sure. Go ahead.
Chip, when you look at Georgia Tech's defense, they made Miami's life pretty miserable for 3 quarters 2 weeks ago. What about them makes them so scrappy? What about them is so impressive?
Yeah, I see that they play really hard. I think they've created 14 turnovers, something like that. More turnovers than normal. They do a great job of, I think they're physical, especially outside on the perimeter. Their DBs play with their hands well. They're very active. Kevin Sherrod is their DC now, and he's a guy I've known for a long time. And he's got those guys playing extremely hard, and you know, they're challenged because they are athletic and they play physical, and they're going to present some challenges for us. And we need to do a great job of getting back to kind of not who we are, but getting back to playing more efficient. You know, I think the other night when you really go back and look at it, it comes down to third downs and not scoring touchdowns in the red zone. And those are things that we really have struggled with Saturday night, and things we've really tried to stress and work on all through spring and fall. And we got to get back to doing that. We got to get back to playing really more efficient in those 2 areas.
Drake has raised such a high bar on because of his performance, but he was off a little bit more the other night than we've seen him, especially some of those passes were more off than usual. What was the conversation with him like about that? And is that also just a matter of sometimes guys just aren't at peak performance? It's human nature and it happens.
I think he is held to a high standard. I think he's earned that because of how well he's played in this year and in the past as well. So, you know, nobody's harder on himself than Drake. There's some throws we probably could have helped him out on that would have made things maybe a little better, but at the end of the day, he's going to really always hold himself accountable. That's what I love about him. He's just, you know, we get on the headset on the sideline, and you know, he's the first to own up to anything, and he wants to take sometimes the blame, maybe when it's not his fault. But I don't think this is about blame. I think this is about us as a unit trying to just play more efficient, play better. I'm in charge of that, so if anybody's going to hold that, it's going to be me. So, you know, we're not a finger point group. We got to play better as a unit. We've moved on today and started getting ready for Georgia Tech and flushed that one, and that's what you do. We got a lot of things to still play for. Everything's in front of us, and I know our guys, I feel like they'll respond really well Saturday. Disappointed how this past Saturday went, and you know, we had a setback and so forth, but at the end of the day, this college football goes fast, and you better be ready to move on to the next week.
Chip, what has been off about British Brooks? Like, I just, from the untrained eye, it just looks like maybe the injury hasn't been the same since the injury.
You know, I don't know. It's probably a good question. I think Amarian has kind of come into his own some, maybe. That's part of it. But I think British is back feeling good. I know one thing, he's a veteran presence, and you definitely feel very comfortable with him in the games. I just think, you know, Amarian's kind of come on. I don't think there's anything with British other than, you know, we'd like to get them both more reps. I'd like to get them both more carries, and that's something we'll work on.
Just seems like he hadn't gotten loose a lot lately, I guess is what I mean.
Yeah, on his carries, yeah. Well, you know, yeah, maybe so. I can't really answer that right off the top of my head, but you know, those two guys are really good players, and I think they complement each other very well too.
That room's not as deep as it was a month ago with some of the decisions some guys have made. When we talked to DJ Jones in August, he said if there was a need, he would move back to running back. Has there been any discussion or thought?
You know, since I've been here, he's been at DB, so not, you know, Caleb Hood's really come on. I think he's a guy that can be in that third spot for us and get some reps, and you see he gets some every now and then, and I think we're in a good spot. But if we you know, you never know when things can happen. I think he's very, very capable of probably doing that. Just hadn't seen it myself.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks, George.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate it, Chip.